Hello everybody and welcome to Wesley's Plant World with me, Wesley Peterson, and today I have a video for you all about the beautiful plant I have next to me here. Now, I know it's pretty hard for you to see what it is right now because I'm showing you the back side of my leckable stake that this plant is growing so fabulously up. This plant has grown out so well that the whole top is hanging down here at the back, and I need to prune that off and reintroduce it into the bottom of my pot. So this is a pruning and maintenance video of my beautiful, and now I can turn it around, Syngonium podophyllum Albo Variegata. And well, I am so pleased at how this plant is doing in semi-hydroponics in leckables on a leckable stake. And this plant is doing so well in this setup that it has raced up in just a couple of months from a couple of cuttings that I had, and it has grown aerial roots all the way into the leckables in the stake, and it's living its best life. I haven't done any maintenance on the leaves or anything because I want to show the plant in the state it's in. Not every leaf looks fantastic, and I will be pruning a lot of leaves off. A lot of the leaves on this plant aren't looking fantastic because I often get a thrips problem in my apartment here, doesn't matter what I do. But thankfully, having this plant in semi-hydroponics helps with that because it means I don't have to worry about soil when I take my plant into my bathroom and I spray the whole thing off with my shower so that I can get all of these thrips off this plant as much as possible before I let it dry out, and then I spray it over with a neem oil and dishwashing detergent mixed with water all over the leaves to make sure that I prevent any more of these thrips on the plant. And it works, but on this plant I have to do it quite often, and it's not always that I'm here to do that, so I do get a couple, but it never gets to a huge amount, but just a few on this plant because the leaves are so thin and delicate really does damage the leaves very quickly, and you're going to see that in a moment. I'm going to show you that. But despite that, this plant has grown out magnificently and it's producing new leaves for me all the time, so that when I prune back damaged leaves, there are always new ones on the way, so I'm not that worried. So let's have a quick closer look at this plant first before I start working on it. So here we go. Look at all the beautiful leaves on this plant. Aren't they amazing? All the way up to the top, and the part that's hanging down and needs to be fixed there at the back, that will be pruned off. But apart from that, I think the leaves on this plant are just gorgeous. Look at those. And look how they all face forward towards the sunlight, and then the whole of my leckable stake is exposed at the back. So I don't turn this plant around in any way. I let it grow one way so I get a beautiful expanse of leaves at the front. And just because I've rinsed this plant out recently, you can see the pot here and all the roots growing out at the bottom and all around. No soil in sight, just beautiful leckables in a semi-hydroponic setup. So for this plant, I'm not going to be transplanting it into a whole new bigger pot or anything like that. It doesn't need it. I'll just be pulling it out so that I can place in my cuttings that I'm going to take from the top of the plant. So at the top of this plant, you can't see it right now. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. I have this piece hanging off. So there's a couple of cuttings here, and this is the top of the pole, and I don't want any of my plants getting longer than the pole. This plant would go on for days if I allowed it. So I'm going to prune it back right at the top of the pole, just like that, and place these back in the bottom of my pot. As easy as day, and carry on the whole process. So my beautiful piece that I have here, I'm going to prune into, let's see, I want it to get quite far down in the pot to make sure that they grow out. So that's one, just like that. And then this one I will leave like this as well. Perfect. Just tidy up any of the debris that are growing on it, old sheaths and so forth. Take those off so it looks neater. And at the same time on this plant, I do just want to show you how a leaf looks if it's been attacked by either thrips or something else may have happened to it, just so that you can see what happens, because I'm actually going to prune that one leaf off. So there we go, you can see this leaf. It's a little bit yellowy, doesn't look so happy. And then on the back side, you can see it's got this browning edge. That's either thrips attack or something else that's caused that. So seeing as that leaf doesn't look all that pretty, I have a whole new leaf coming out here that looks fine and a new leaf coming out here. So I can prune off this older leaf. Now, when you're working with this plant and doing things like this, just be careful of all the sap. It's very sticky and poisonous, so don't get it in your mouth. Right, that's one. This other leaf looks okay, just a little browning end. You can just snip off those if you wish to as well, so take that off. That looks fine to be able to add to my pot. So I'm going to put those on the side for now, because I need to use my tray once I've had a look at my plant here, because I have leaves here that I also want to prune back. I have one here. So I might as well prune off all these leaves that aren't looking so good at the moment, so that I can have a beautiful plant to look at when I'm finished. And some parts of the leaves you can just prune part off if you like the rest of the leaf and leave the rest. Depends on how you feel. This one, this little one here has a browning edge and it's got a new one coming out, didn't need that. This one up here has a lovely variegation, but I'm just going to halve it because that one half is not very nice for now. And just leave it like that for the time being. Some leaves, one down here that's not very good on one side. Take that off. And I think that's enough. It wasn't that bad. I don't mind a few blemishes and things like that, as long as I'm managing to keep any kind of insects at bay so that it doesn't become a huge, huge problem for the plant. There's a lot of debris on this plant, so I'll just cut these off while I'm at it so that they don't slough off and fall into my leckables. That's not something that I want. These aren't roots, these are old stems of the old leaves that I've cut back. And a thing about this plant is you really can't just pull the leaves off, they just won't come off. You have to get scissors and cut them off, otherwise you'll end up ripping the whole vine. They attach very, very well. So now, this is a little bit more sorted out, looking a little bit better here and there. Quite a few old pieces I've got coming off here. So it's good that I'm getting in and giving it a little bit of a maintenance check while I'm at this. Another one there. And now, oh, there's an old leaf here that's dead that I didn't notice. Up here, that's gone. And up here, dried root, don't need that, gone. So, this plant is starting to look, old string that I don't need, gone. I think that's starting to look much better again. Yes. So now, let me just get rid of all these debris here, and then I'll be ready to take this plant out of its pot and add my cuttings to the bottom. So here I go. Up with my pot, move the cachet pot to the side for a moment, out of the way, pull this plant out. Just a little squeeze on the pot is all you need to do, not much. There we go, and the roots come out very easily. And seeing as I now have taken out my plants, I'm just going to give my pot here a little bit of a scrub around the edge to get rid of some of the brown. So there we go. That is my plastic pot with the air holes all the way up the sides, cleaned out so that I'm ready to replant my plant back into it. And this is to create oxygen around the leckables, because Basically, I will half fill this container with my nutrient mix, and then the rest will be leckables and the roots in the air, in the moist leckables. And that just keeps the whole root system very healthy and creates beautiful, happy plants like this. They do need oxygen. When I've tried to grow Syngoniums in soil in my apartment, they've just tanked. They've either had not enough water, they've either had too much water. The balance is very difficult, I find, in my situation, to keep them happy. The only way I've managed to keep a Syngonium alive this time is by trying semi-hydroponics, and it has worked out fabulously. My only Achilles heel, one can say, is the thrips. And that has nothing to do with the potting. Right, so here you can see the lovely roots. I'm not going to disturb that once again. Just back in the pot. I just wanted to create some space. Well, actually, shake out more of the leckables then. I just wanted to create some space to be able to put in my 2 cuttings. So again, I'm going to have to show you from the side, otherwise you won't be able to see. Here's one, and I'm going to place the bottom in. So I need to lift this up again. I want to get this into the bottom because I need it to stay in the nutrient mix, and I'll be able to fold that up and tie it up. So that was the first one, and then I have the other one next to me here, which also has lovely big aerial roots. Lift this pot again of roots, get this plant down into the bottom. There we go, it's in. So now I have my top part in the bottom of my pot again to carry on this wonderful growing style. And now I just need to fill up with leckables. I have fresh ones here that I think I'll put in, because then I can go and rinse out and boil some of the ones I've just taken out. I just thought I might as well use some new, fresh, sanitized leckables while I'm at it. It's not important to go in and do this all the time, but seeing as I'm working on this plant, I might as well do that, because I probably won't be doing something like this again for months and months. So it's just nice to give it a little bit of maintenance, seeing as this plant is doing so well for me. There. Press those down in there. And my plant is able to stand up itself again, I can feel. That's good, makes life easier for me. Get it standing up properly. Turn it round. Make sure I have enough all around, so at the back as well here. It's just such a joy doing this with plants without soil, because it is just seconds to clean up afterwards. So there we go, my plant stands up, it's completely back together, rinsed out and all sorts. Now all I need to do is, look at that, fabulous. There are some pockets at the bottom where there aren't any leckables, but it really, shake it around a little bit, maybe I can get some more down. Doesn't matter if it's not completely full up, the nutrient mix is the most important part of all of this. But that looks fine enough for me. The plant is supported, that's the most important part of this. So now I have my cachet pot again, I can put my plant back in, there we go. I can move this tray, there we go. And now I can tie up my new first cutting down here. So I've got some of my string. Where is the end? Sometimes it's difficult to find and it causes me trouble. There's the end. So I've got my string. It's not the same colour as the rest, but I don't mind. This is the one I needed to fold up. So I need to start low, and at the same time I'll manage to tie up the other new piece. There. And away they go. They are in and part of my plant again, as quick as daylight. Another one to get this double growing piece up. So I'll go a little further up here, get my vines, get that cutting in, and tie it up, leaving space for its new leaf. Well, actually, no, I need to redo this. Its leaf is coming out just below, so I don't want to get that trapped in there. No. I'll need to leave the first leaf out and put it around the second leaf, because that is where the new vine will start growing out eventually. And this will have to be changed up every now and again, so it doesn't really matter. So there we go. My plant is reconstructed as if nothing ever happened. And it took me a few seconds and I'm done. So now I am ready to start watering my plant, and I always do that from the top, and these plants love it, and that's why they're growing so well like this. So let's get this done. And the water trickles all the way down. Listen to the crackle. So there we go. That is my Syngonium podophyllum Albo Variegata, reorganized, pruned back, bad leaves clipped off, and looking absolutely amazing. And now I know I have 2 new vines that are going to grow out and continue this lovely bushy plant. I am so pleased with this, and I am so pleased that I decided to make leckable stakes, because they work fabulously. Even though they don't stay moist for very long, you can still water your plant through them, and the aerial roots get nutrients at the same time as the bottom of the plant, and it just produces such a thick, bushy arrangement. This works. Try it out for yourselves and let me know how you get on. So all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching this video with me. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up. And I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.